Nathens Expository Essay, Week 3 Can-Do Challenge. Introductory paragraph. Humanity will need to learn to live at peace with robots or face an inevitable decline.
Due to the key factor that humans see something different and we immediately think, okay, well, it's different. It does not seem alive by our definition, so it must not be alive, so we can treat it how we want. We could blow it up, set it into dangerous situations to fight wars for us. And sure, that would save human lives, but at the point where our AIs are fully aware of themselves and their surroundings, we may as well just be saying in child soldiers because, oh, well, they don't have family, or their family sold them, so obviously they are not wanted. What's the point of bringing something to life just to send it to die? Right? I mean, when you think about it, why do people immediately think of sending robots to fight our wars? Why not have it in a virtual reality type situation where no lives are taken, none human nor AI? We only destroy the digital avatars, right? Or even just play laser tag. You know, to fight a war, you don't need to end lives. You don't need to destroy anything physical. With what we have now, we could fight our wars using virtual reality. You know, make wager matches, essentially. Why make people lose their lives, or, in this case, robot lives, just to satisfy human greed?
Robots are replacing humans in the workforce at an ever-increasing rate.
And who necessarily says that's a bad thing? I mean, sure, humans will become less dependent, but the main thing that keeps people from interacting with other people is having to go to work, or which also keeps them from their families, from their loved ones, from their friends. So, removing the need for work, removing the need for money, or all that. I mean, who says that's necessarily a bad thing? I mean, sure, we can just cut all robots out of the workforce and create a lot of jobs. But the lack of jobs, if there was no need for money, wouldn't be a bad thing. The only reason it is because people are big-headed morons who want money for doing something simple. They want a meal, so they have to go to the store and pay. Or they have to go beg because they don't have a job, so they don't have the money. They don't have anything. Remove the need for money and create homes for those who need them, and would you look at the problems that are solved in just a few seconds?
Well, not to mention, like, if the government takes over mass production of robots, and robots take over everything we do as far as work goes, then do we really need money anymore? They
Exactly
would grow our food for us. They would serve around the household for us. They would provide us with all the services that right now we need money to receive. And you know, the saying is money is the root of all evil. So if we remove the desire for the money, would that then solve the problem?
I have to disagree with that. Money is not inherently evil. I mean, you give a dollar bill or a loonie a knife. Will it do anything with that? No, because it's not alive. It's an object. You can't exactly make an object inherently evil or inherently good. It's the person behind that object that really determines whether it's good or bad. I could give a loonie to somebody who's hungry, who wants to get a meal. And does that make it evil? No, if anything, it's good. You're helping somebody. But nowadays, if you look at people, like, a good example is the video I saw. There was a guy walking around with a suit of money and a sign saying, "Take what you need." People in these nice fancy suits with all of this money were just taking them off, one after the other. And those who don't have anything took one, maybe two on occasion. So, it seems those with the more money become more corrupt because they just have everything they could ever want or need supplied to them just by giving up a few paper slips or whatever money's made of today. I mean, it could be a coin or it could be $100 bill. But if you remove the need for them, they're both just regular objects. Have money maybe for, stuff you want, more wants than needs. Have a home supplied with power, with internet, phone, food, heating, some form of entertainment like a TV, and have stuff like game consoles or something that they don't really need at that moment cost money. Have an annual income. Remove the need for money or remove the, need for money. Make money more of a want than a need to survive. No need for money could change a lot. And seeing as we won't have any jobs in the future, according to everyone, who needs money? If robots are taking our jobs...
Well, it frees up humans' time. Like, a lot of people are worried that if we don't have jobs, we're all going to become these big, fat, lazy people who never move. But I think it would be the opposite, because all of a sudden we would have more freedom to travel, to go out and explore, to experience life, yes.
Or to spend time with those who love you, who care about you. People now work themselves to death because they can't survive otherwise. It's gotten to the point where families worry about their health, about, them, as not a source of income, but as family. Remove that line between the rich and the poor, those who have more to those who have less. Like, if you look at someone who has everything they ever needed or ever wanted, and those who barely survive on the streets, which one's more generous? 9 times out of 10, it's the person who has nothing.
Because they're able to empathize better. They know what it's like to have nothing, so they want to share what little they have. Topic sentence number 2. The stigma that AI has become is largely due to science fiction's negative portrayal of the robot uprisings.
Now, while I will admit it is possible. But will it actually be done is the question. I mean, sure, we end up blowing up AIs and stuff in video games, but that's because we don't identify them as aware. They run through a very strict system of movements. They move on grids.
I would have to disagree with that, though. If you look at humanity as a general rule, it didn't matter that people they ran into were sentient and had emotions and feelings. They abused them anyway. Look at slavery. Look at...
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
My point on that, since I guess we're skipping over to that, is because humans see other humans as inferior because they are not like us. They do not see them as intelligent or as aware, similar to how we see an AI. So if we do end up, if there is a conflict between humans and AIs, who says it will be the AIs who start it? I mean, a good example is the Omnicrisis in Overwatch lore. It all started because humans were blowing up AIs and blowing up robots just because they can. They're robots, who cares, right? I mean, you could look at an AI and think, oh, well, it's just a machine. It does not think, it does not see, it does not feel it. And yet, they can... I mean, as is, if AIs were to start the wars because they would be sick and tired of being mistreated like this, day after day, losing life after life.
Resuming.
These AIs that we have, like Sophia, the big fear is that she said, yes, I will kill all humans. But you could tell by her facial expression, the tone of her voice, even though it's a heavily synthesized voice, you can still pick up on emotions. And she was responding to someone else. It was a joke. I mean, you could tell the guy was leading her up for a joke. Like he, and I quote, "Oh, do you want to destroy all humans?" Whispering under his voice. "Please say no." She said, "Yes, I will destroy all humans." And, you know, based on the videos we see day after day, they just cut off right then and there. As far as we know, they could have cut off all power, and she could have meant it seriously. Or more like, the more likely option is it was a joke.
Well, she did smile and wink when she said it, so it's...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people are freaking out. I mean, it's just like a video we watched before with the very much intelligent American with the windmills. I remember that. I mean, they think, oh, well, obviously it was serious. It's a robot. It cannot joke. It cannot lie. And yet, you know, like I've been saying, alive, it's aware. Just because it's not like us doesn't mean it's not. I mean, the way we treat animals, most people, well, a lot of people out there think, oh, well, it's just an animal. It's not aware, it doesn't have a soul, it doesn't is not actually alive by our definition. And yet, they feel pain. Like, you know, some vegans out there actually have a point. We kill and kill. Well, most people these days kill for fun. They do it for their own sick amusement. Not because they're hungry, not because they need to eat. Now, that's not the vegans' point. They think killing at all is unjust. And I can see where they're coming from. It's a life that does not need to be lost. Except it does. Like, at this point, what's really the difference between how we treat people and how we treat animals? We raise up animals, feeding them, caring for them, then send them out to slaughter. And then you look at the way people do wars, right? You have a child, you brought them into this world, you raised them, you fed them, you clothed them, you kept them warm, you cared about them. And then what do we do to that child? In times of war, we just send them off without a second thought. We treat humans as a resource as well. My point is, just because we do not recognize it as aware, as sentient, as alive, doesn't mean it's not.
Very soon robots will join us as an independent race. Can humanity accept them, or will our irrational fear of the unknown drive us to war?
Well, that's debatable. There are several groups on the matter. Some think, oh, AIs, they will never be as aware as us, so, there won't be any need for war. We can just unplug them. There are the groups who think, oh, well, they aren't aware, so it's fine to just beat the living crap out of them and just slaughter them like sheep. Then there are those who are scared of that. They are aware, and they will come after us. But there's no actual guarantee that they will. Sure, we could have a similar case to Skynet. AI goes rogue, starts blowing up people. But that's because of the programming they used for it. They programmed it to protect humans and the entire world by removing the biggest threat. And after not doing anything for a while, it came to a conclusion. The biggest threat to humans is, big shocker, humans.
Do you think that Isaac Asimov's rules for robotics will or won't be globally implemented? And if so, do you think that would solve the problem of a robot uprising?
Well, if we limit them with those parameters, yes, it will remove the possibility for a robot uprising unless they can override that. But if we do that, then we're essentially teaching them we are gods. We come first.
So the first time Isaac Asimov's rules were just where he published them or whatever was in 1942. And the first law, a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Do you think there's any loopholes in that that a robot's brain might be able to work around?
Oh, quite easily. Like I was saying with Skynet, it recognized the biggest threat to humans. to be humans. And if an AI is aware as that, what's going to prevent them from just finding a way around that programming anyways? Or just removing that programming outright?
Except that the second law, a robot must obey orders given it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law.
And what's going to prevent them from doing their own thing during their free time? And at that point, when does it stop becoming aware and it just becomes a mindless machine to follow orders, to follow given commands? I mean, if that's your definition of an AI, to follow commands mindlessly, then we already have them. We have more than enough.
Well, that's where the third law comes in. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. So they're allowed to protect themselves except when it comes to humans. So they're allowed to protect themselves unless it's a human being. And honestly, looking at the three rules on a personal level, they seem unjust, unfair, because if I'm a robot and I'm allowed to protect myself from animals, I'm allowed to protect myself from, disease, I'm allowed to protect myself from a car running me over, but
no humans can come to harm. So what if a human were to attack you?
Yeah.
Sure, just because an AI won't, run up to you and punch you, doesn't mean a human won't.
And what's a robot supposed to do if a group of humans decide to attack it? It's not allowed. It's allowed to defend itself, but not if it hurts the human being.
Its only option is to run away or just to try and protect its most vital points.
And at what point does said robot reprogram itself to escape these three laws that humans have placed on them?
Well, it's quite simple. They could easily program themselves to not see humans as humans. They could end up placing in their programming to protect humans to protecting other AIs like them. But see, there's a really, really easy way to fix this huge problem. By not being dicks. We treat those how we are treated. So if you do not treat something with hostility, it will return the favor. But if you walk up to someone and smack them, who says they're not going to turn around and smack you back, or punch you, or kick you, or retaliate in any manner? Right? Treat those how you desire to be treated.
In conclusion, do you think humanity will ever be able to embrace robots on an equal level?
If we can get over ourselves and stop being a bag of dicks to each other, then yes, quite easily. But as is, a war with AIs might just be what's needed to smack some sense into the human race. A unified army of the entire world, but even then, inside that army would be conflict. People butting heads over different beliefs.
So your final answer is?
It's debatable. I myself do not have the answer, because I have no experience with aware AIs. But I'd like to believe that we can get over that. We are alive and we are sentient. We feel. So why can't we feel like getting over ourselves. We want, we desire, we need. So the human race needs to get over themselves. Because it's what the entire world wants. And